selling that crack, yeah. Niggas selling super sour and bionic glue, and got Superman powers when I'm stressed new. New Corvette looking like a transformer. No seatbelt screaming on my damn lawyer. Damn, I'm knee deep in the projects, and Hollywood ain't accepting no nigga from the project. New Corvette looking like a transformer. No seatbelt screaming on my damn lawyer. Damn, I'm knee deep in the projects, and Hollywood ain't accepting no nigga from the project. New Corvette looking like a transformer. No seatbelt screaming on my damn lawyer. New Corvette looking like a transformer. No seatbelt screaming on my damn lawyer. New Corvette looking like a transformer. No seatbelt screaming on my damn lawyer. Damn, I'm knee deep in the projects, and Hollywood ain't accepting no nigga from the project. New Corvette looking like a transformer. No seatbelt screaming on my damn lawyer. Damn, I'm knee deep in the projects, and Hollywood ain't accepting no nigga from the project. New Corvette looking like a transformer. No seatbelt screaming on my damn lawyer. Damn, I'm knee deep in the projects, and Hollywood ain't accepting no nigga from the project. Yeah. John Dillinger shit. Corvette looking like a transformer. No seatbelt screaming on my damn lawyer. Damn, I'm knee deep in the projects, and Hollywood ain't accepting no nigga from the project. New Corvette looking like a transformer. No seatbelt screaming on my damn lawyer. Damn, I'm knee deep in the projects, and Hollywood ain't accepting no nigga from the project. Yeah. John Dillinger shit. Niggas in the hood wanna see my cars on flatbed. Hey, this a recession, selling that crack, yeah. Niggas selling super sour and bionic glue, and got Superman powers when I'm stressed new. New Corvette looking like a transformer. No seatbelt screaming on my damn lawyer. Damn, I'm knee deep in the projects, and Hollywood ain't accepting no nigga.
Okay.
All right, greetings.
All right.
Thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of the Front Line Blacc News. I'm your host, Shane Croomer, and I'm joined with my West Coast correspondent, Shabaka Sankori, Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced. Also, I'm Nicole, executive producer of. Greetings, Shabaka. How is the Sin City?
Oh, yeah, Sin City is still full of sin. You know what I'm saying? It's been built on that, man, who perhaps continue to be built on it. You know what I mean? Okay, so therefore, you know, there's a lot of issues going on in the world. And, you know, recently, as we heard what's happening over there in the Middle East and whatnot.
Yeah, the so-called Middle East. But that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day. So we're gonna continue where we left off on Saturday night into Sunday morning with part 2 of Front Line Blacc News. First of all, we are streaming on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 platforms. My personal Facebook page, the Arena Uncensored Facebook page, the Frontline Blacc News Facebook page, Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced, the Facebook group page, MD 2020's page, YouTube page, Blacks or Politics Blacks YouTube page, Front Line Blacc News YouTube page, and the Arena Uncensored YouTube page. So shout out to all the viewers from all of those platforms. Now,
yes, sir.
The topics that we didn't get to was the FBA Chicago giving the FBA Chicagoans giving the Democrats hell over migrant crisis. 11-year-old Trinity, Washington, attacked and brutalized by 2 racist Hispanics. Police brutality, brutally attacked Lee Kenyon Woods in Jaccsonville, Florida. Tariq Nasheed's new FBA hip-hop documentary, Microphone Checc, The Hidden History of Hip-Hop trailer is out. And then we got our Unhoused Neighbor News and our Unhoused Neighbor Sweeps.
All right. All righty. So starting with our first topic. All right, Brother Checc.
Yes, sir. So for those that don't know, we're under a migrant invasion or illegal immigrant invasion.
Right.
Some cities that have 6 are where they're sending these illegal immigrants to. Denver is one of these illegal immigrant refuge type cities. So we have 200-300 illegal immigrants, otherwise known as migrants, moving here every day. And, nobody's talking about getting rid of the sanctuary status. And where the hell is Black people's sanctuary? Does that even exist on the planet, let alone in the United States of America?
No, sir, it doesn't. And for the simple fact is that, you get a lot of these brain dead Negroes who are so much in love with their slave master, you know what I'm saying? They, like Malcolm X said, except now they're doing it digitally, boss, we sick, you know what I mean? And they keep throwing a lot of division within the Black community, here in the United States and throughout the diaspora. And what's happening is that they had been referring to Africa.
They keep throwing it, or we keep, or those that look like us keep throwing it, because they seem to be feeding right into it. And then when you're talking about the mama land or the mama continent, they got all kinds of tribalism that they're practicing.
Oh, yeah. And of course, as you know, man, is that these people manipulated by opinion by European power, French, Belgium, British, or what have you. It's because their wealth is dependent upon the minerals that come out of the
But they always say it's the government. They say it's the government. The government. They got access to all these gold mines and diamond reserves, but the people are starving and living hand to foot in the country.
Yeah, well, see, that's because you got all those puppet regimes and neo-colonialists over there. It's because, look at the ones who are ruling the nations. Look where they were miseducated at: the United States, England, France, Belgium, the Netherlands, and all of this. And then, of course, they put those savages, man, in key positions of in those regimes, or whatever as they call them. And then, quite natural, of course, the United States is over there, man, manipulating things for their interest as well, too. Okay, look at these sorry ass Congressional Black Caucus. You see, they still sitting up here, man, 50, 60 years later, still sitting at a lunch counter, begging for a cup of coffee. You see what I mean? And it's constantly getting pissed in. You see what I mean? And it's very, very sad. And once again, what were those who made the ultimate sacrifice, in that time, 60 years ago? How would they feel about it? These dudes going around calling themselves women and all this old type of shit. How would the dead ones or their family members who are still around feel about that? Well, wait a minute. We went and got hit with
utter disgusted with it.
Oh, I'm quite sure there will be. I'm quite sure it will be. So therefore, you know, and once again, this here kills the family unit. And then I see some white dude up on Stinky Bird or one of these social media places. I'm not going to say his name. And he went up there and stated that the reason why white men are overlooking these black women is because, you know, the average black woman is 40 pounds overweight. You see what I mean? And then, of course, you know, you got a lot of black women who's up there telling this shit, well, you know, black men ain't shit, and this, that, that, the other. So she's going to go out in bed and shit. You see what I'm saying?
Is the copyright scrolling, Shabaka?
Let's see. I'm seeing here you are watching Frontline Black News in conjunction with the Arena Uncensored and several other platforms. Yeah, the disclaimer is up there. Yeah, the Copyright Act of 1976 disclaimer is up there. Fair use for the purpose such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research, you know. And then what's happening is that you got another concept of the beached white male. And this is what's leading, you know, to their racism. And plus that, you know, there was a case, and I'm going to see if I can pull it up in North Dakota recently.
Hold on, Shabaka. We got to get to this topic because we're kind of
yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So this, damn it, this computer keep freezing up. You know, what the hell? Should have restarted it before I started it. So we got the situation Johnson in Chicago, the mayor of Chicago. He took over after Lightfoot.
Yeah.
So this is one of the new voices in New Black Media, TD Hip Hop. If y'all haven't subscribed to TD Hip Hop, y'all definitely should. TD Hip Hop Media YouTube channel. See, we dropping some heavy knowledge on politics all over the country. So it's definitely a good source to listen to. So
right,
and he's based out of Angeltown.
Oh, okay, Los Angeles. Okay, all righty. Okay, all righty. And then also too,
hold on, Shabaka. I'll get to the video.
Sure.
I'm gonna fast forward a little bit because it's giving him accolades right now, which is that's not a problem. But I want to get to the meat and potatoes of this.
Right. Oh yeah, Brandon Johnson ignores Black college concerns about migrant crisis impact. Okay.
Can you hear it, Shabaka?
Nope. Yeah,
you
it's like it's muted. No, sir.
Okay.
Just holding press conferences and just trying to get more press around.
Yes.
So what I want to do is I want to go to that press conference that they had. I believe it was about 2 days ago, maybe it was yesterday. And I want us to listen to what Natasha had to say, because there's something very critical, at least critical to me, that she said that I need to highlight and point out. So let's get into that right now, and then we'll get back into the discussion.
We are not upset with the individuals who are being allowed to cross the borders into America. Let me make that very clear because people get it confused. We are, however, outraged with the government's response and our elected officials' blatant disregard to the local crisis Black families and children are facing now in our city. It is disingenuous and highly disrespectful to come into neighborhoods that have suffered decades of disinvestment, redlining, poverty, and violence to tell them you're taking resources away only to give it to another group of people that you allowed to cross the border illegally. How dare you put these poor people against us, especially because the very reason you claim they're here to seek asylum is the same reason and terror and injustice Black people face today. Chicago is working on an issue without addressing the current issue that it has with the communities that are suffering. And we're seeing resources fly out to help, but we're not getting that same type of support at the magnitude we're seeing now. And to expect us to foot the bill and hand over our already limited resources, public parks and school buildings that have been unjustly closed in the first place. Now you're putting a strain on our police officers and stations, obstructing their ability to do their jobs, serve our community, and our communities to go into police stations to receive services. In addition, it's inhumane to welcome people only to have them sleeping on floors and buildings and in tents that cannot withstand the wind of Chicago. Brandon Johnson ran on the promise that he would listen to our community. And in the beginning of this crisis stated that he would not re-traumatize those communities that are still suffering from the impact of school closing, redline, and violence.
Boom. Let's stop right there.
He reneged.
Brandon Johnson never said any of that.
Brandon
Johnson never said he was going to do anything for Black Chicago.
Never.
Those words never came out of his mouth.
I'll tell you who did though. The Green Party candidate.
One cases that have been happening.
Paul Green. He said he was going to do something for Black
Americans.
They didn't support him. This clown and fucking Valdez. What's his name?
For those of you who don't know, as many of you do know already.
That's the one that had the police behind him.
Simply a policy which and is mainly practiced by Democrats exclusively at this point, right? In which politicians will never directly speak to any issue that concern Black Americans directly. The conversation will always be rerouted to people of color, minorities, marginalized groups, and will always be rerouted and spoken about.
Exactly.
Right? One of the terms, codified language or codified words that Brandon Johnson loves to use is disinvested communities.
Disinvested.
He's always saying,
remember that broad ambiguous language we're always talking about, Black family.
Right.
What happens?
Another term for it is gaslighting.
For neglect, okie-doke, where they don't address you directly, but through codified language. It leaves you to just simply assume that Brandon Johnson
they tell you what you're thinking is wrong.
To simply assume that these Democrats are speaking about you.
You're not thinking right. You're delusional.
And you vote on them based on an assumption, but you don't vote for them based on the fact of what they said they were going to do. Brandon Johnson never said he was going to do a thing for Black Chicago. He was always very clear, as I pointed out numerous times. He was always very clear. Let me pull this article up for you right now on what he was going to do
and who his priority was.
So-called migrants. He was very clear on that before he even became mayor.
Yeah,
he made it abundantly clear
what he was going to do. I can't even say y'all didn't know.
Brandon Johnson unveils plan to support migrants. Here goes another article, one of many. Mayoral challenger Brandon Johnson unveils plan to help refugees and immigrants. There are no articles that exist whatsoever in which they are breaking down Brandon Johnson's plan for Black Chicago. That does not exist. It doesn't exist because he never said he was going to do anything for you. And it is so upsetting, frustrating, and sad at the same time to continue to see our people fall for this banana in the tailpipe as it pertains to banana neglect. And you operating off of assumptions. You're assuming he's going to do something. Never said he was going to do.
That's why at all these town halls, so-called, I'm like, so what are y'all going to do for Black people?
And now here you are pressing charge against his administration.
Even when I was I'm like, I'm the only one that's going to do anything for Black people.
Yeah.
To learn our lessons.
And once again, they keep, sweeping our plight, up under the rug,
our Holocaust.
That's
exactly
that we're in right now.
Okay. Now,
tailpipe concerning
we don't have time
these
for
type of tactics.
Okay.
Exercise on you. Well, then you can call this the game all but over. We lost.
It's a pretty much video too. He's gonna play all
now. Let's get back into
clips.
What she had to say. There's only about maybe about 4 seconds left, and then we're going to move on.
We are here today demanding that the city of Chicago and Brandon Johnson stop disrupting park programs, taking away from our children and families that depend on those services.
So you know how they have the board of supervisors in San Francisco,
right?
In Chicago, they have the alderman.
Exactly.
Giving him all kinds of, because he actually wants to stand up against this shit, and then the rest of the council or whatever is not getting on. The rest of the aldermen aren't getting on code what he's talking about, and they're just following for the okie doke.
And what had happened was, as we so well.
School building as housing because they're not zoned as such. And specifically for this building was promised to the community, and our children deserve a high school. A high school. We want to reopen this as one because we do not have a neighborhood high school. That school over there is not a neighborhood school. It's a selective enrollment that actually restricts our neighborhood kids from going. So that's a violation of our civil rights, and we want this building. We pay taxes for.
Like you should run for office, but you want support.
I just might Slauson girl. I've thought about it once before.
Yeah.
He said you should run for office. I gave that serious thought. I believe it was about a year ago. I just looked into it a little bit.
Just went through this shit. Like,
what would it look like if I wanted to run for city council out here in LA or something like that?
I would have won city council.
What the landscape look like? I actually did look into it once before.
Okay, well, if I may interrupt.
That's not
with this dude here running for the Los Angeles City Council. Okay, we don't have enough Black residents in Los Angeles to be effective with it. Is because what will happen is that they will be subjugated to the Hollywood agenda. They'll be subjugated to every other group's agenda in Los Angeles except the Black agenda. If you think they got it bad in Chicago with Brandon Johnson, oh man, it will be 10 times worse for Black people in Los Angeles.
But before we do that, there are 256 of you in the live stream right now. Please hit the like button if you have not already. Please do that.
Oh, yes, sir, because we don't have no cohesiveness amongst ourselves. You see?
And show your support to the channel as
then everybody's out here chasing these rainbow flags and that bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And as we stated before, they got a right to their human rights and civil rights and what have you. But we need something specifically for us. Well, if it's Chicago, New York, Los Angeles, Denver, Oakland, you see what I mean? I'm not going to say San Francisco at all. Okay, yeah, right, exactly. Of everywhere where we are, because you got too much hatred against us. Number one, then you got brain dead Negroes like Pianki, who would sit up there and countermand progress.
Many of you might be aware of this already. Some of you might not.
Yeah.
Crispy, Tommy Sotomayor.
Yeah, exactly. Those kind of clowns.
You see what I mean? Charles very critical resources. Taking away
Herschel Walker.
And Brandon Johnson.
Deion Sanders.
So hold on. So getting back to the video. So the players, the young boys, the Pee-wee players, right? They where they want to set the shelter up for the migrants, for the illegal immigrants, is where they practice up. And
so they kicking them out of there.
Town hall to bring awareness to that. Like, look, we're here. This is where we practice at. We can't even practice for our games because you want to put these foreigners or these outsiders in our damn facility. Like,
right. Yeah, and you can see what the strategy is here with that. See, so what they're going to do to accommodate these these migrants, they're going to displace us, and these black politicians will be pawns in displacing their own people for these migrants. This is clearly evident.
Munson Park. I know I'm pronouncing that name wrong.
Park.
My apologies.
That's where they practice.
These Chicago kids are from
a migrant shelter in the park
football program in the Austin neighborhood that will be kicked out. Oh my God. My apologies. These Chicago kids from the Munson Park youth football program in the Austin neighborhood will be kicked out of their neighborhood field house so it can become a migrant shelter Monday. Over 600 residents met last night here to oppose this.
Good.
Now, what I want to do is play a little
to be opposing this bullshit,
and that's him right there.
Right.
The alderman, his name is, he's a 29th
That's the alderman they're giving all kinds of hell.
Christopher Talaferro, I believe his last name is pronounced. This is him right here. He is the alderman of where that park is. And I want you all to just take a listen to what he had to say while he was at that meeting last night. I think it's very important. So let's get into that right now.
One, for coming out. This, in my opinion, has been one of the most difficult situations that we've had in the city of Chicago. This past Friday, and so that I could chronologically let you know as far as what I have found out. This past Friday, I spoke to the mayor's office, the mayor's deputy mayor, or the deputy chief of staff, who informed me Friday morning that we were going to have a shelter at this particular location.
Yeah.
One of the things that you'll notice and that is important to continue to highlight with the Johnson administration is that they always keep the aldermen out of the loop. They always keep them out of the loop, and they always inform them that a migrant shelter is coming about 4 or 5 days out. They gave them about a week's time tops, 6 to 7 days. They never let them know what's happening ahead of time to give them a chance to actually make some sort of adjustment or maybe push back against it. Never do that. The Johnson administration never does this, ever. He always pops these migrant shelters on them last minute. But let's carry on to what the alderman had to say.
It sounds like Johnson.
Yep.
You're gonna be allowed to speak. And is the speaker, when I spoke with the deputy chief of staff, she informed me that we would have this shelter here at this location, and I strongly object to it, and I object to it now.
Okay, good.
And I'm not saying that because I want your applause. I'm saying that because we cannot take a resource from our community. I have told the mayor this, I've told the superintendent of our parks this, and I will state it to the top of the roof. We cannot take resources from the Black community, a community
that's the kind of council person or mayor.
Now I say this, those seniors that come to this park know that I come here every fourth Thursday.
I'm going to rewind this back just a little bit, but I just wanted to say
one resource out of our communities.
I don't believe what he's saying. I don't believe him, and I'm going to tell you why I don't believe him in just a moment. I believe everything that this alderman is currently engaging in is theater. That's what I believe, and I'll tell you why in a moment. But let's carry on with this.
Vested in. Now I say this: those seniors that come to this park know that I come here every the fourth Thursday of every month with them. I know of the programming that's in this park, but there's so many other reasons why this park should not, and not just this park, but any park should not be converted to a migrant shelter. First of all, we deal with security issues. Now, particularly in this area, our police officers have been working tirelessly to help reduce violence in the Amundsen Park area, in the North Austin area. And this, by no way, helps them in their efforts in reducing crime.
I got a lot of gangs over there.
I say, secondly,
yeah,
I believe in a democracy. I believe in a democratic process that says before you make these decisions need to be brought to the community.
It's a whole documentary on it.
Now, I will
Chicago's
say
most
this.
dangerous neighborhoods.
There's some out there we want to see the
that's all. It
email.
was the home of Al Capone for many years.
Come sit down with me. I will go through every
Mob
email.
Town, Gangsta
But there
Town.
are no emails with
Then,
regard to this. I received a phone call
for a
Friday.
century.
This was going to be a shelter.
At least, yeah.
Yeah.
Once again, like I said, Brandon Johnson and his administration always keeps the aldermen in the dark. There is no conversation ahead of time.
Now,
that was founded by a black man.
one other reason that we do not need this as a shelter. We have for months, and even beyond months, we have been telling our youth, if I could please speak,
on the banks of the Chicago
we've been telling
River.
our youth not to go downtown, not to gather in mass, not to commit crimes downtown, because we want to provide opportunities for you in your community. Well, this specifically flies in the face of that, and it takes a very valuable resource from our youth. Our seniors have been able to walk across the street and enjoy programming here. It will be extremely difficult for them to walk a mile and a half or even get a mile and a half from here to continue their senior program. So I ask you, and I have never asked this of the community before, I ask you to join me and stand up against allowing this to become a shelter.
I know a way of how they can have a very, very effective method.
Hold on. Stop.
We can't say that.
I know a way.
I just want to take a moment to discuss why I don't believe very quickly, right?
So you think it's political?
Because I don't believe anything that he's saying at all. Number one, the first thing is this, right? That alderman from the 29th district, he, just like Jeanette Taylor, was an alderman that people speak very highly of. I've always heard good things about her, you know, prior to this migrant crisis situation. I've always heard good things about her, you know. But he, just like Jeanette Taylor, they both voted for the $51 million to get distributed to this migrant crisis situation.
Remember, we covered that on a
that was a highly contested bill, and there was a lot of debate surrounding that, because you had many saying, if you're pulling this $51 million from wherever you're pulling it from, because at the time they didn't even know where they were going to get it from, right? Then some of this money needs to come to our communities, the Black community.
Right.
And if you can't do that, then you need to find out where you can get some more money at, just like how you found out where to get that money from to distribute it within the Black community to build up the resources that we need in our neighborhoods.
Right.
There was never a real fight put up with the aldermen to actually put a stop to that bill. There was no real fight. Out of the 13 aldermen who voted against it, 7 of them were Black, and of those seven, neither one of them were Jeanette Taylor or the individual that you saw speaking right now.
Wow.
So that's strike one. You didn't push back. You didn't attempt to fight. Play hardball. There are enough Black aldermen within Chicago that they could have played hardball and said, we're all going to vote no on this.
Oh, absolutely. You got enough Black people in Chicago where you could do that.
You're going to divide that $51 million.
Yeah, because see, Chicago is one of our strongholds, you know, population wise, and also too politically wise as well too. So when you get these aldermen and city officials like Brandon Johnson, Lori Lightfoot, they'll sit up there and capitulate, okay, then what's happening is throughout the rest of the world, we are viewed upon, oh, well, these Negroes will capitulate against themselves. And the sad part about it is that's exactly what's happening. You are the only one that I know of who ran for political office that came out there and stated with a Black first agenda. And the odds was against you, but you still stood on your square. You see what I'm saying? Okay. And that's the key right there. And we're not going to mention Los Angeles at all. Okay. But Chicago, Cleveland, Philadelphia, these here would be the cities to start. But you got Eric Adams in New York City, so therefore we're not even going to mention Eric Adams, and we're not going to mention Karen Bass, because in Los Angeles, Karen Bass is just a figurehead.
I don't, but let me.
They're all figureheads. They're figureheads and puppets.
Yeah,
we got like 10,000 Black college Christians, and they don't do nothing specifically for us.
Right.
That's mayors, governors.
It should be popping up.
We even have we have.
There are 440 of you in the live stream right now. Please hit the like button already.
And then
the like button. That is one of the most important. That is.
These guys are just incredible.
So this article.
Oh, you can't hear it.
If Chicago should remain sanctuary city, remain a sanctuary city for migrants.
We need to be saying that about Denver too, and these other so-called sanctuary cities. Like,
Alderman Anthony Napoliano. That's not how you pronounce his name, but I can't pronounce his name. Anthony Napoliano. He is an independent who was a former Republican, right? Him and Anthony Beale, who was a Black Democrat, have sponsored a resolution to add a referendum to March 2024 primary ballots in Chicago, asking if the city should keep its sanctuary city designation.
Now that's good.
Out of all the old aldermen,
we need to do that here
in Chicago.
Only But the key is, do you got the voting base to do it? Is because Chicago, does have a huge
about that shit. Them crackers is not happy about that shit.
This is once again why I say the gentleman who was speaking earlier.
Now they starting to invade their spots. They don't want.
I don't.
They want to live in seclusion.
Yeah.
They want to live with ones that look like us but speak a different language.
And
pretty much
they have not gotten behind making the referendum to the March 2024 primary ballots to put that resolution in.
The worst race riots Martin Luther King said he had ever experienced was in
Chicago.
If that year comes around, and it's
Marquette Park, Illinois, where Dr. King had marched at and said that.
Christopher or any of your other aldermen in Chicago.
Then, of course, you had the race riot of Chicago in 1919.
Oh, yeah,
that's strike
two.
I don't believe you get 2 strikes.
The death penalty on the.
To be honest with me, you really get 1 strike. But for the sake of the discussion right now, we'll say 2 strikes. They already voted for the $51 million without resistance, and now nobody is getting behind Anthony Beale and Anthony Napolitano.
So I stand corrected. That's Anthony
Nobody's
Beale
getting behind them to get rid of the sanctuary city status.
Chano is the ones we should get behind.
So that's why I don't believe them. But second, what I want to focus on as well,
if we have any viewers from Chicago, that's who you should be supporting.
It's a trend that I keep repeating.
Right.
That Brandon Johnson makes it a point to keep all the aldermen in the dark. He keeps them in the dark. Third, I want to
sound like
quote what the alderman said concerning
and Tom Bradley and Karen Bass.
Like I think Webb actually
before you make these decisions,
not Hancock. They brought that shit to a veto, and
meaning you have to give
that. He only vetoed 2 things:
an opportunity,
the pit bull ban,
either say yay
and the
or
ban
nay
on
to this,
nicotine,
and to be able to properly engage in a democratic fashion, so that we can decide, those of us of the community, We can
in
decide
12 years, he only did
whether or not we
two
want this to be
vetoes, and those
and
were
if we
it.
do decide we want it to be here, we'll make the decisions in our community of how much we're willing to give up.
Because they had got
I
a whole
find it funny,
majority vote against him,
very
and they still
interesting,
went ahead and
very ironic, if I'm using that word correctly, that the Democrats love to talk about, democracy is on the ballot, right?
Yeah, they
Our
always kill me
democracy
with
is
that
at
stupid
stake.
shit. That's
They
that
love
Jeff
to talk
Fart.
about,
That's what Jeff
voter
Fart and
suppression
his
by
crew,
Republicans, right? I haven't played it in a
and
while.
then still tell Mr. Fayard, to kiss my ass.
To fall back and
yeah,
change
vote for
Yeah.
what? What are we voting
For
for?
blocking me because I disagreed with
Lord
what he said.
knows, let Republicans get back into power.
They're gonna put y'all back in chains.
They're gonna put us back in chains, right? They love talking about that, but when it comes to letting the people of Chicago, which is a Democratic city, Illinois is a Democratic state.
Oh, is that you, Shabaka?
Super Democrat majority across the board. Comes to letting
is that you making
Chicago
noise in the
decide
background?
what they actually want. They're not interested in that. They do what they want.
I thought I was tripping. I thought I had heard.
Now, what I want to do is pivot to another gentleman who took the time to speak.
Get a cat.
And I want you all to hear what he has to say. I gotta
get the hell up out of here.
Because it's very interesting as it pertains to the voting process and what should have happened.
All out this raggedy piece
Brandon
of shit.
Johnson to be able to take that park away from him.
And condemn this
So let me
whole
play that
gun
clip
and
for you
bulldoze
right
it to the
now.
ground. Like this shit is done. It's like no salvage.
You have a Chicago park. Let me rewind that back. And there are 490 of you in here right now. Please hit the like button if you haven't already. Thank you. One thing about this is Chicago Park District facility. You have a Chicago Park District Board of Commissioners. They never voted on turning this into a migrant center. So I want to rewind that back because that's very important. There were no votes. There were no votes. There is a democratic process, right, that they're supposed to go through if they want to be able to do something like that. And the Democratic Party is supposed to be the party of democracy, right? That's what they say. That's how they like to pretend who they are, right? That's what they tell us. They want to protect democracy and they want to protect Black Americans against voter suppression. But as you can see in the city of Chicago, which is Democrat from top to bottom, they don't really care about what you think and how you feel. What democracy? What vote? Where? They don't do that here. Oh, and yes, one thing about this is Chicago Park District facility. You have a Chicago Park District Board of Commissioners. They never voted on turning this into a migrant center. So, and yes, thank you. Looking at tax bill. And it's like they don't even go through the process of going through the Board of Commissioners, not going through the community and doing this to us. See, people talk about, and I'm going to defer some of my time to my wife, is the fact, I always try to talk before her because I never want to go behind her. But people got to talk about the fact, it's like, they ain't taking nothing away from you. It's enough for all of us. No, it's not. No, it's not. That is Brandon Johnson's talking point that he's addressing right now. Brandon Johnson has said 1,000,001 times that there's enough for all of us. This gentleman is laying it out straight. No, there is not. People got to talk about the fact, it's like, they ain't taking nothing away from you. It's enough for all of us. No, it's not. No, it's not. Now they're taking away an asset that people worked 30 years. My buddy worked years to put together programs that they're taking away from us, Black people, with a Black man, can't miss that point, from this community. And it's like, what insanity? What are we going to hear from them that's going to change our minds from no and not taking our part? And the last thing I ask of you, please call Anthony Bill, call all the aldermen and say support Alderman Anthony's bill ordinance for a referendum on whether Chicago remain a sanctuary city. And think about it, this bill is not to say kick off the migrants that's already here. It's to a point we just got to say no. Because
he's right.
If you all got $500 million, because it's $300 million now, and by Christmas in January it's gonna be $500 million. Now, if you got $500 million lying around, I want to be in your family. First of all, I want to be your third cousin once removed. But the reality is, it's gotta say no,
because that's the simple solution is no. Turn the buses around.
Ms. Trush, you got about
Turn
15 seconds
around.
left.
Thank you.
Hold on, Ms. Trush. Ms. Trush.
I want to take a quick moment and shout out to Bounce Prosperity. Bounce Prosperity being the third person and the only person who has been contributing to today's stream. I thank you very much, Bounce Prosperity, who continues to show love throughout the duration of this stream. He said the illegals are stealing from the local stores and get a catch and release by police. Different rules apply to citizens. We must stand or sink, Brad. And I want to take a moment because I was kind of just briefly skimming through Blexit, the communitize comments that he's leaving, because apparently Blexit, the communitize. I'm always a little skeptical of, you know, brothers that say, you know, if you are a brother, I don't know, but when they say the communitize, that's no, for me, that's normally kind of a red flag. Whenever I hear brothers say the black communitize, my antennas go up a little bit, you know, because I know it kind of follows behind that a lot of times. But you were saying some very interesting things, and I want to address that. Right. So this
community without unity.
He said, is my alderman, and I live by Munson Park. I'm never voting for another alderman again if he doesn't support the move to end sanctuary city status. Blexit continues to say, I told him a million times to stop voting for people just because they are black. That's what Blexit the Community says. He continues to say, I gotta go to the park tonight. They're working in shifts to guard it. And Blexit continues to say, Munson Park does not play. Don't let the nice houses, pretty lawns, and quiet streets fool you. They'll turn up down there. That cop on stage is anti-black. Oh, I didn't put it up there. This is the last one I'm going to read because Blexit's saying a lot, but I do think this is interesting what he's saying since he lives in the area. That cop on stage is anti-black. He got all the Hispanic cops at the park right now. That is very interesting. Let's bring this back up really quick so we see if we can get a better look at him. I think he's talking about that individual right there. Can we get a better visual of him? So that's him right there. Blexit said that cop on stage is anti-black. He got all the Hispanic cops at the park right now. So I guess you could say that's breaking news from Blexit, the community who lives in the community. He said they got the Hispanic cops guarding the park right now. They're not letting anybody over there. Oh, okay. His name is Officer Perez. Officer Perez. They have all the Hispanic cops guarding Munson Park right now. Well, there goes your democracy, right? There goes your democracy with the black mayor, you know, enforcing this on a black neighborhood with no care at all. What happened to all that West Side talk? Oh, the West Side is in the building tonight. The West Side has made it to the mayor's office. That all went out the window real quick, didn't it? And if I'm not mistaken, in Blexit, the community.
Well, see, that's that lip service, you know, that these sellout black politicians do. That's all what this brother's proving right here. You see, that's all what it is that they do.
It's because it wasn't too long ago that I did a video on this, where Brandon Johnson, very quickly, he was in and out fast. Because here's another thing that you all should pay attention to as well. Notice how Brandon Johnson is never at any of these community events. When was the last time you've seen Brandon Johnson at any of these community events, these press conferences, these town halls, these
running for office, maybe
filled with the black residents of Chicago, where he was present to hear them out and communicate with them directly?
Never.
When was the last time you've seen that?
I don't think
I haven't seen that at all since he's been in office. Haven't seen it at all. He ignores you 100%. 100%.
And that's what the Democrats do.
Thank you, Joshua Martinez. Joshua Martinez says, hope things remain peaceful, but I wonder why black lives don't have to be on now.
Okay, because you see, what's happening is here, Brother Paris, what this is proving is a lack of cohesiveness, period.
I'm gonna read that again. Hope things remain peaceful.
Particularly, you know, when we're going out here calling each other over this stupid
I like the
stuff.
cohesiveness on our part. Everybody
Yeah,
else
exactly.
is codified.
I hate to say, on this one, the only ones who got to blame is ourselves. You see?
Where is Black Lives Matter? Should they be in the mix of all this? Where is
and how you gonna hold these black politicians accountable? You see what I'm saying?
When you don't put them in office.
You know.
Yeah, exactly. You see, and particularly
they're not homegrown candidates.
That is a great question.
Nobody knows them in the community.
But
that's what y'all keep voting for.
Here's something that's even more interesting.
Yeah, exactly. And particularly in places like Chicago and New York, where we do have a significant population. You see, and I would say, man, everything east of you, starting with St. Louis.
Yes.
Well, Chicago, Cleveland, Philadelphia, the southern cities. You see what I'm saying? But what it is, man, is that everybody's off.
One last video before.
I think.
Yeah, and everybody's.
I was preparing.
Yeah, because you got Kansas City, Kansas, and Kansas City, Missouri.
Yeah.
I was on
majority of the people was Missouri, though.
On YouTube on my laptop, right? On YouTube, and you see your
we saw on the west side, like my former councilman, he was from the west side of
I hope I do. Yes, I do. And this is what was pulled up on the screen. I will show you all right now. It was this video, and it threw me for a loop. Because if we're going, me making a live stream titled Brandon Johnson Ignores Black Chicago's Concerns About Migrant Crisis Impact, when I make and prepare for a live stream like that, right, that's titled that, and on the thumbnail it says, Brandon Johnson doesn't care about Black people. But then you see this video pops up. Let me remove this Rob off the screen. But then I see this video pop up in the right-hand corner, my recommends titled, Chicago Mayor, I'm hearing loud and clear from our Black residents in particular about migrants. When I saw that, I said, uh-oh, this might throw a chink in my whole live stream. I might have to scrap the live stream now, depending on what Brandon Johnson had to say. So now let's
you
hear
see,
from
he still went through with the live stream.
Because apparently Brandon Johnson actually, for once, speak to the Black community in terms of what they feel about the current
what does your boss have to say?
Crisis, or I should say the Biden crisis.
Yeah,
really. That's what it's called, the Biden crisis, right?
Yeah, and I got a bio up on this dude as well, too.
No good.
The talk of the town in Chicago.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah, I'm going to read the bio after this brother's presentation on Brandon Johnson.
That's what everyone's speaking about.
We still got another.
That's what everyone is upset about.
10 minutes of this video.
The Biden crisis in Chicago has Black folks, a brother that I know personally, who's like a brother to me, one of my dear friends. We spoke about 2 weeks ago, and I'm smiling because you know who you are. I'm not going to say your name on the live stream. I'm not going to do you like that, bro. But you know you will vote blue no matter who ninja. Boy, you be voting blue. You love him some Barack Obama and Kamala Harris. I talked about him plenty of times out here before.
I know what
my man loves the
mugs out here.
Yeah, well, see, that's the snow job right there.
I ain't laughing when he
because neither one of them is serving the purposes of the Black community.
Make America great again. No lie. And he was dead serious. He was dead serious. He was dead serious. He said, amen.
Let's say that mega means my ass got arrested.
I can't do this no more. Kamala and them are going to have to take a seat.
I think
and that's actually
you and Black Sons should have a debate on that.
In the city amongst Black people.
Yeah, all right.
In Chicago.
Yeah, you know, I'll be happy to talk with Mr. Blackson. You know what I'm saying?
Critical resources being taken out of their community and given to somebody else. High schools being snatched from Black neighborhoods and given to somebody else. These are critical resources. Parks and recreation centers with programs for juniors and seniors and football programs, these safe spaces, places where your children can go to and your grandmother can go to enjoy themselves, have a safe space,
Oh yeah, and
maybe
Black
get
family,
away from the madness of
keep
the
Lady
world,
Che in your
and
prayers. She's
just
not
be
doing
at
so
peace.
good.
Have a little fun.
I
Oh,
might go over there after the
Sign your son up for the football
check
program.
up on her because
Keep
I
them
ain't
off
heard
those
from
video
her in like
games.
a day.
Actually go outside and do something.
oh,
Use your brain. They're removing those resources.
She,
That's
remember
what's
she kept
happening,
saying she was gonna do
and
the RBA.
that's what Black Chicago
right.
is about.
Then I
The
passed out, and
removal
then
of
I didn't hear
critical
nothing
resources
all evening.
from
You
already
called,
hurting
but I didn't hear
communities
nothing from her at all.
to give them to somebody else.
No,
Meanwhile,
okay, most definitely keep her in our prayers.
$1 billion, $430 million to be exact, being poured into this Biden crisis, where prior to the Biden crisis, you had a multitude of organizations within the Black community that are doing everything they can to stop the violence, stop crime, and put together programs within their community to stem these things. You have all these organizations that exist in Black Chicago, contrary to popular belief. The idea that Black Chicago does not care about their neighborhoods and their community is a lie.
Right.
There are an abundance of organizations out there doing everything that they can, and they've attempted to partner with the local government, and the local government tells them, hey, we can't help you. We don't have the funds. We don't know where we're going to get the money from for these programs that you like.
Yeah, we see, and this is the problem with these ass scratching politicians.
So
You
now,
see, it's because they will sit up there and they will vote with these other groups, to benefit their communities. But when it comes to us, they're not reciprocating. And the Black politician doesn't see this. And like I said, and particularly in a city like Chicago,
frustration
they say,
of Black Chicago,
because
The Black
Chicago is one of our strongholds. And I will go so far.
They do see it,
actually addressing that.
or they do see it,
So I'm
and
going to play
they
that for you
say,
right now. There are 600 of you in
I'ma
class
tune it
right
up
now. Please
to
hit
get
that
the
like.
capital.
Yeah, well, exactly. Well, this is what this guy Brandon Johnson is doing. Based on what I'm seeing right here.
Well, he's the embodiment of the thought process of the Democrats.
Providing more funding to
Right,
cities
exactly.
for
Example of what not to be.
help with housing. Have you had that conversation
Exactly.
with him? Talked about that specifically.
And then I got a bio up here on Brandon Johnson,
Hold on,
and I like to read it.
5 minutes about
again, the people of Chicago, we're being asked and quite frankly tasked with carrying the vast majority of this responsibility. I know that the leadership in the state of Illinois recognizes the importance of Chicago.
It's like, where's your base?
And the only thing that I can do is do my part.
And what is your part?
And I'm asking other folks to do their part.
Oh,
and as I've said multiple times,
so they want everybody else to do it.
The weight and the brunt of this sacrifice has been on Chicagoans, and I'm hearing loud and clear from our Black residents in particular that they have high expectations, as they should.
Gosh,
it's why making sure that we pass one fair wage was a priority of mine, because the vast majority of individuals are Black and brown women who are doing the work. It's why we're going to bring Chicago home. Vast majority of people who are unhoused in this city are Black people. It's why we're committed to passing treatment, not trauma, and opening our mental health centers and making sure that we have an alternative response to mental health crises, because those who are overwhelmingly impacted by brutality are Black people. And there's still more work to be done. So I'm going to continue to do my part. I've expressed that the state has to do more. I've expressed that the federal government has to do more. And that's just where we are today.
The most I told you was the FBI.
Yeah, Kerry Jones, now. Black and brown, benign neglect, 101.
Oh, yeah.
Did it sound like he addressed any of the actual concerns? Once again, the talk of the town in Chicago.
He gave you a bunch of prepackaged bullshit.
It's not fair wages.
And he probably sat up there and rehearsed that shit.
It's not the need for
mental
health facilities.
And this is why we have created the hashtag resurrection of the mental dead.
In that city, if you ask anybody that's actually there,
because what that dude should have done right there on television, signing an executive order said, "No, we ain't having them cats here.
Everybody,
no matter who is pissed off, and ship them down there to Kamala Harris's house, just like what old Bud does down there in Texas."
TD Hip Hop
within Black Chicago is.
And you were born in Chicago,
and how critical resources.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm saying what I'm saying.
Over there to be given to someone else.
Yep.
And he didn't acknowledge any of that. He acknowledged none of that at all. Because
I'm looking at loved ones I got dead, distant relatives there that's being displaced by this bullshit as well too.
Yep.
And say, oh, well, I just signed into law.
I got the bio up on Brandon Johnson.
Okay, he's almost done.
Yeah, I think we'll find it interesting.
So it's going to help.
Wasn't he a teacher
Black and brown? Black and brown.
I believe so, yeah. Okay, let me just, let the brother go and keep talking, and I'm just going to go over a little bit of it.
We're going to bring Chicago home. What are you talking
article?
About? No one's speaking about that in Chicago. That is not the talk of the town of Chicago. He's not addressing anything. He's addressing nothing that's actually going on over there and nothing that the people are actually speaking on over there. He's giving you the typical Democratic Party benign neglect answer. You pick a disparity because the main disparity, the one that matters the most, the racial wealth gap, that one you leave as is. And you leave that as is and you never actually address that because as long as that
quo, that's what they're talking about. Status quo,
all the other ones will continue to exist. Well, so what you do is you do fake patchwork by selecting a random disparity and saying, well, hey, I'm signing this Fair Wages Law Act into law.
And this is gonna
since Black Americans are disproportionately working these jobs where they don't get fair wages. I just signed this law so that Black and brown people, minorities, and marginalized groups will receive fair wages. All this in the face of the fact, in closing, and any of you remember this, he's sitting here talking about fair wages, which is funny, you know, and how all this is going to disproportionately help Black people in Chicago. All this is flying in the face of the fact that, how many of you remember this back in July? Black workers comprise 90% of recent unemployment like that. It shows Black folks aren't even finding jobs.
Oh, God. Sickening news about this clown, Brother Checc.
Black workers are comprising of 90% of recent unemployment spike. Now, mind you, this was back in July, but, you know, I'm going to read this off. A new Bureau of Labor Statistics report published Friday found that Black Americans make up nearly 90% of those who are unemployed in the U.S. since April. Black workers made up about 267,000 out of the 300,000 new unemployment cases this spring. The report says the current unemployment rate of the demographics sits at 6%, nearly twice the rate of white employment, which sits at 3.1%. But yeah, you know, hey, don't worry about it, Black Chicago. I'm increasing minimum wage. And with all that being said, that does it for today's stream. I want to thank you all for joining me today, and you all have a great evening. Thank you very much, Bounce Prosperity. I'm actually in a rush, so now I got to run. I can't read the rest of these super chats off, but thank you, Joshua Martinez. Thank you, Dre Harden. Thank you very much, Cynthia McDonald, Courtney Smith, and FBA Bro Reese. Thank you very much, and you all have a great evening. Hit that like button on your way out. Peace.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Brother Che is away from his desk right now. Okay, well, I just pulled up the Chicago Mayor, Brandon Johnson. Okay, okay, he was an educator. Okay, and
anniversary of hip hop, and we still have a lot of discrepancies as far as the origins of hip hop, a lot of claims, who did what, who was the first this, who was the this and that, and such and such. But at the end of the day, we need a definitive story, all right? And that story can only be told by the founders of this culture.
Like everything was being driven and influenced by young Black American culture, like the slang, the style of dress, the initial music that we chose.
Look at what?
Okay, brother. Okay, Brother Che. Yeah, I got some background here on Brandon Johnson.
Okay.
And this is off of Wikipedia. Okay, let's see right here. Okay, he was born in March of 1976. He was an educator and politician, serving as the 57th mayor of Chicago. He was a member of the Democratic Party. He was elected mayor in 2023, and he previously served on the Cook County Board of Commissioners for 5 years, representing the 1st District. Johnson was first elected to the Cook County Board of Commission in 2018 after defeating the incumbent. Then he was elected mayor of Chicago in 2023 in the 1st round, and him and another guy had advanced to a runoff and, getting rid of Lori Lightfoot. And then Johnson won in the...
It was Valles, the one that was Valles.
Yeah, Paul Velez, yeah. Okay, so then he became the 57th mayor of Chicago, and he is the city's 4th Black mayor of Chicago. He was born in Elgin, Illinois. Okay, he had 9 siblings. His mother had died of congestive heart failure when he was 19 years old. And then he has also had that the Democratic National Convention of 2024 is going to be in the city of Chicago. Okay, so that's what they're, saying about him and all that. And then the sad part, he's described as a progressive. And he emphasized funding and resources for public education. Okay. And the sad part about it is, man, is that this dude, man, no. Yeah, I'm just reading. Yeah, and I'm just reading up here a little bit of more information on him.
So and some of their partners from the house. Now they want to touch shit up. Now they want to fix shit up in here. It's like, no, it's too late.
Oh, all of a sudden, yeah. Well, okay. Well, you put some. Well, sometimes you got to put some fire up under them to make they do their jobs. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know how they've been passing inspections. It's like they still keep passing inspection. It's like, how is that even possible with all these issues in this building?
Wow. Yeah. And so therefore, this dude.
I know they mad at that contract.
Yeah. So this guy, Brandon Johnson, man. Yeah, I think he's going to be a major disappointment for the city of Chicago, and particularly for the Black community.
Oh yeah, I believe.
And then that there was a grave insult, to those children, who are athletes, where they got displaced, for these damn migrants. You see what I'm saying? And so what he needs to do is put these migrants on there and put them on a bus and take them to the vice presidential official residence there in Washington, D.C., like Bud did. And that there's a picture of the infamous Chicago L train. And they call it L trains is because they're elevated.
Yep.
You see what I mean? And it's been there since the 1860s right there, and looks like a real cool day because I'm seeing snow all over the place.
Oh,
and
yeah.
what have you. And then, of course, as we all know, is that... Oh, yeah. And then, of course, as we know, the city was founded as a trading post by Jean Pointe. Huh?
By a Black man.
Yeah, Jean-Baptiste Pointe du Sable. And they got a high school. Yeah. And then, of course, you had a lot of Black talent, that came out of Chicago, athletic-wise, entertainment-wise, educationally-wise, and what have you. And then, of course, that's where Barack Obama had grew up. Michelle Obama was born and raised there.
Another one specifically on that ottoman. Let's see that out real quick. I forgot he did one on the Ottoman himself.
Mm-hmm.
Mayor. Again, shout out to TD Hip Hop Media.
Okay, what's going on, everybody? Here we're live. I want to thank you all for joining today. If you can see and hear me clearly, please drop a 1 in the live chat, and then we can get today's stream started. And as I wait for the ones to come in, and Sunday, but on Sunday they had 7 buses come in one day.
Talking about the buses, okay.
To the city. Now, this news is via Ben Bradley, who is a reporter for WGN News. WGN is the local news station in Chicago. And Ben Bradley wrote this: 8 more buses of migrants expected to arrive in Chicago today, largest number in a single day. Latest stats, 15,000 plus arrivals, 8,996 in city shelters, and at police stations. And then he went on to correct that tweet that he put up. And in the correction, he put update. City now says 7 buses today. The 8th won't arrive until tomorrow.
Oh my God.
But you get the point. Now, what I find interesting is that there are so many buses arriving into the city of Chicago,
that sound like
filled with migrants, that at this point, they can't even keep track anymore. I should say with so-called migrants, that they can't even keep track anymore with what's going on, right? And what I want to show you next is this tweet right here. Now, this woman isn't a reporter, but she was also stating that, and this was the next day, mind you. This tweet right here was an update from Ben Bradley on September 26th, right? So in a matter of 48 to 72 hours, there were, 20 buses that came in.
Wow.
In a matter of 78 or 70, in a matter of 48 to 72 hours, 20 buses of migrants came into the city of Chicago. And in the very
20 buses.
According to this woman here, that I'll pull up on the screen right now.
At least 10 is coming here.
I believe, it is 7 buses
a day.
The next day came into the city. So we're talking about, what's that, 27 buses?
Oh, he just went live again. He's talking about the wall now.
4 days.
Okay, hey man, so what we're doing on the topic of Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced tomorrow?
That I said it was Biden crisis. They're getting hammered right now. She writes, sources tell me 7 buses of migrants will be arriving in Chicago this afternoon. This follows the arrival of 10 busloads of asylum seekers last night. Okay,
we're going to talk about the migrants. They can't even keep track
with all the buses. Coming through.
Oh, like okay. Pandemonious and what's going on
here,
with
that should be coming up on the screen
shit.
From.
Okay.
Of course, it didn't pop up.
Put down here, as they used to say, Middle East crisis.
Here we go. This was a tweet here from Jamal Green. Some of you may know
what else.
Some of you may not. From my understanding, because I've been following him for quite some time now, he's a pretty prominent organizer in Chicago, concerning the Black community. He wrote this responding
current situation with dump.
It should be illegal to keep doing this. We need to pass an ordinance to make it a crime to transport migrants across state lines into Chicago. Charge the bus driver. Bus. Period. Stop the flow. Now, I don't know if I charge the bus driver. I mean, you know, the bus driver is just doing his job.
Talked about,
you know what I mean? The bus driver is most definitely just doing his job. But I understand the sentiment, right? I understand
and Joe Biden and the border.
That's not going to be
new U.S. Senator from California.
To ship
we already talked about her
to the city of Chicago. That's not going to happen.
On Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced.
Yeah, we did on Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced and Front Line Blacc
in Chicago, which is what all are trying to do, right?
All right. Okay. So
let's get into the specifics of what's happening now in the city of Chicago as it pertains to the Biden crisis and its effect on businesses in the city, because now you have businesses that are starting to lose business because the shelters around it are making the people feel unsafe. So the bars and the nightclubs and the restaurants that people used to go to, they're not going to them anymore because the surrounding areas are no longer safe due to the shelters that are being placed there. So let's get into that right now. There are currently 234 of you in the live stream right now. Please hit that like button if you have not already. Please do that. That is one of the most important things that you can do for this channel. Now, let's get into that article.
So this dude here has a YouTube premium channel, right?
Just to find out what's really happening in the city of Chicago. And it's
the gentleman talking right now.
I
believe so.
Right? So this here comes from the Chicago Tribune, and the article is titled, "As Migrants Clash Near High Volume Shelters, Neighborhoods and Businesses Grow Alarmed. We don't feel safe." We don't feel safe. Now let's get into it, right? Over the weekend, a fight broke out near the 1,163 resident migrant shelter at the former Standard Club, 320 South Plymouth Court. Just the latest brawl to be caught on camera outside of one of the high population shelters downtown. So once again, fights are breaking out at these shelters, with the city buckling under the growing number of migrants. 12 buses carrying 560 more asylum hopefuls arrived this weekend, and no sign of the influx slowing down. Tensions among migrants, residents, and business owners are reaching a boiling point. The neighborhoods say they've witnessed frequent fights. I'm gonna repeat that again. The neighbors say they've witnessed frequent fights, loitering, and other misconduct. While most told the Tribune they fully support efforts to aid the migrants, they have grown weary of the city's solution to cram thousands of people into highly trafficked shelters, and they're concerned about safety, not only for themselves, but of migrants too. I don't think any of us care that there are shelters there, but here's the important part. But it is the fact that there are zero attempts to control the situation, and we don't feel safe, said Brandon Valpita, the owner of Brando's Speakeasy, a popular karaoke bar near the shelter on Plymouth Court. Our clients don't feel safe anymore. So the owner of that bar said, we don't feel safe, and our clients don't feel safe anymore.
Okay, could you freeze that there for 1 second, Brother Checc?
Situation. Yes. Now, this is something that...
Okay, now with our people saying that they don't feel safe with these assholes coming in here, right? So then that there's some work, you know, for the street organizations right there to go ensure their safety, if you know what I mean.
Yes, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, and that there'll be something positive, you know, right there, particularly with them attacking this 11-year-old little girl. You know what I mean?
Yeah, whatever crews is in that neighborhood where that happened.
Yes, there's the work for them right there. You see what I'm saying? And I'm not dissing, you know, none of the crews. I'm not challenging none of the crews, but I'm just putting it out there. You say, because, you know, that could be your relative next. That could be one of my relatives next. You see what I'm saying? I'm just putting it out there. And when you have these politicians like this dude that you got there in Chicago, man, you see what I'm saying? You know, they're serving everybody else's agenda, but ours. You say, okay, so therefore that there's within the mindset of it. And this isn't hatred. This isn't racism. I'm just looking at political and economical sense. You know?
Okay. So we're real pressed for time, so I might move us to the next topic. But yeah, basically.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, and I can give you about another 20 minutes.
Okay, well,
and
I know
then
you
what I would do.
Topic right here. about the 11-year-old girl attacked down there.
Yes.
So let's get to that. So this 11-year-old black girl was brutally attacked by two racist Hispanic women.
Wow.
On his crime report last week. Did a whole expose on it, and we're going to listen to it now. And then give commentary at the end.
Family and fellow soldiers, I'm the professor, and this is the moment of truth. And now the Friday Crime Report. Chicago, Illinois, Sunday, September 17th, 2023.
An 11-year-old recovering from a second surgery appeals for peace amid her pain.
To see my family go through this is so hard right now. I just don't want to go through this anymore.
Today, Trinity, Washington was surrounded by her family, friends, and community members at the Chicago Police Department's 10th District. This after the girl and her family were allegedly the target of a racial slur. Then, the girl was attacked by two women September 17th.
It grieves me deeply to see what has happened to Trinity. It's not something that she nor any child deserves.
The group gathered today questioned why they say police didn't respond to the incident immediately. And on Saturday, Washington's mother says someone related to the alleged perpetrators threatened her at gunpoint. She and a 10th District Council member say police again were delayed in responding.
My house have not been the same since this happened. School, she missed school. She tells me all the time. She miss her friends. It's just so hard.
I didn't know I have to be fearful of my life to come outside again.
Chicago police offered this statement saying the department will not tolerate violence in our communities, especially violence against children.
Man.
What the hell?
She recovered.
Literally protected that. They perpetuate violence against our people, especially our children. Like, what the fuck is he? Oh my God.
Yeah, see, whatever glue that we had, man, has been dissolved.
Clearly.
And man, and if this wasn't so tragic, man, this would be laughable.
Right.
No, poor little baby.
I know. She doesn't deserve that at all. No child deserves that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Heartbreaking attack. Chicago police confirm a woman was arrested in connection with the girl's beating and charged with aggravated battery to a child. And a man was arrested for allegedly threatening the girl's mother on Saturday. He is charged with aggravated assault, use of a deadly weapon. Regarding questions about response time.
See, this is what I'm not understanding. I mean, how were these people was able to walk away from this?
You know, people ask,
and I want to know what does UL Chicago got to say about this?
Well, in a recent hate crime that took place in Chicago, we're reminded exactly what happened. Illinois has had a huge surge in migrants from the south of the border in the last 5 decades, and it's been particularly intense in the last 10 years. And how have these new arrivals been doing since they got there? Well, on Sunday, September 17th, on the west side of Chicago, 2 Hispanic women decided to celebrate Mexican Independence Day by violently attacking an 11-year-old black girl, mutilating her face with a broken glass bottle, as well as breaking her nose. And this was a hate crime. These 2 white Latinos were calling that black girl racial slurs while they were savagely attacking her. And why did they do that? Because the little girl had been walking her puppy, and these 2 scumbags think that she got the puppy out of their way fast enough. They brutalized an 11-year-old child. Now, keep in mind, this hate crime happened weeks ago. This is not something that happened in the last 24 hours. This was weeks ago. And at last report, since the attack, the police in Chicago have dragged their feet. Now, there's been some loose reports that one of the attackers may have been arrested, but if anything has happened at all. The community's been demanding that action be taken and that these criminals be held accountable. But of course, the authorities are in league with these criminals. They're carrying out the kind of violence that the authorities want done. So that's the reason why they're allowing them to remain on the loose. And speaking of loose, these two she thugs had some male apparently living with them. I called this thing a male. I dare not call it a man. A week after the attack, this fool decided to threaten the little girl's mother with a gun. Apparently, he was angry about the media attention that was brought to the crime that his two skank friends committed. Now, the girl's mother said that he also pulled a gun on her a second time, and naturally the Chicago police, who we're told work so hard to protect the public.
Okay, stop that for a second, Brother Checc.
In fact,
I hate to interrupt the professor. I'm just looking at something right here.
See, the police are totally complicit.
And this dude, okay, assaulted this woman with a firearm, and they only charging him with a 1 misdemeanor account of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. That's a misdemeanor in the state of Illinois. In California, man, that day you'd be doing 5 years minimum.
In Colorado, you'd be going at least 2.
Wow. So basically what has happened here is that the cohesiveness is gone that we once had. Okay.
What cohesiveness? There was never no cohesiveness. There was no black and brown. If that's a
no, Jesse. I'm talking about within the black community, period.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the glue got dissolved.
Right.
Yeah.
Professor gonna break it all down. Right before he gets rules.
Yeah, sorry to interfere with the professor.
In a lot of the crimes that happen, especially in black neighborhoods, and in many cases, the police orchestrate, if not carry out these crimes. They allow certain criminals to operate as a way to disrupt, harm the black community from within. Haven't you ever noticed how certain punks who commit crimes in our community always seem to be able to get on bail repeatedly, no matter how many crimes they commit? Meanwhile, when they arrest a law-abiding black citizen on false charges, that person winds up in jail for weeks, months, or in some cases years. Now, the name of this male has been made public. His name is DeAndre Carroll. He's 32 years of age. So they put this guy's name out there. They're letting people know who he is. But those two white Latinos who savaged that little black girl, they're not putting their names out there at all. One coincidence. We all know what's going on here. You've got some worthless bedbuck who's willing to pull a gun on another black person because he's totally dependent on interracial sexual access. He'll do anything for some run-of-the-mill hood rats from south of the border. This is the enemy within. The black community has a right to protect itself and to prevent this kind of off-code behavior from taking place. We'll continue with the moment of truth in just a moment, but first, a word from the official sponsor.
Man, well, I'm gonna talk over the professor, man, because he's up here advertising for Steel. Okay, but this is sickening, man, and this is ridiculous. And what it is that we got
Steel. We're talking about power tools.
Yeah.
To carry our steel.
Yeah.
And always
so this is real bad. Okay.
You never know when you're going to need to bring the hammer down, or when you'll have some trash that needs to be blown away, or some obstacle that requires cutting down. Don't get caught empty-handed. Keep your hammer close by. Keep that leaf blower at the ready, and always carry your steel. Power tools, because no matter what your day job or side hustle may be, there's no excuse for not being ready to put in some work. You always got some people running around talking about how they're doing some sort of colorblind kumbaya stuff. They try to make their being color struck or try to make it where they're chasing interracial sexual access. They want to make it sound like it's virtuous somehow when it's not. This is codependency, and it just goes to show with this incident the depths that some black men will stoop to just because they think that they're doing something when in truth they're doing nothing at all. And of course, if these two pieces of trash who attacked that little girl speak out, they'll claim that they're not racist because they've got this worthless chump living with them. They're laying up with this moron. A lot of non-white groups have long since figured out the deflections and tactics that white power has used to try to confuse the issue when they get called out.
Yep.
A lot of these non-white groups know that the white media and the authorities will pretend to believe them when they use the exact same excuses and talking points. And others will look the other way. The newly installed Black Mirror Chicago has been MIA on Black leadership in that town. I guess these guys don't want to run afoul of any groups whose votes they may want if they try to run for higher office. Now, there's been a couple of TikTok videos or what have you that claim to have pictures of this DeAndre character, as well as the two racist white Latinos who attacked that child. But without solid verification, I don't think it prudent to post it because mistakes have been made in the past. But I think it tells us everything we need to know that as it pertains to these two assailants, the police have taken so long to do nothing. And even then, the reports are that only one of the assailants was arrested. But again, we don't have verification of that. The community is demanding that the assailants be charged with hate crimes, as they should be. But where's the pressure that should be coming for your Black misleaders? The white media is working to keep this one suppressed. They're treating this the exact same way that they did the murder of Laquan McDonald.
Yep.
That's how you know the fix is in. They're doing their part to try to figure out how do we make it where there's as little consequences as possible for mutilating and beating a Black child, harming a child. They ought to be glad the city doesn't have riots going on right now.
Right.
When you have degenerates harming Black
That's
children,
my point.
time for marching or demonstrations. That's a 3-alarm.
That's precisely my point right there. What he said right there.
Trinity, Washington has already had multiple surgeries to try to repair the damage done to her face. The authorities are protecting these two pieces of trash who harmed her. That's the real damage that's been done. These anti-Black racist civilians are the irregular forces of white supremacy. They're the ones who carry out the dirty work that the police think is a little bit too risky for them to try, like, say, mutilating a Black child. And you can tell it's deliberate and it's sanctioned by the police because of how consistently they never do anything about these acts in particular. And while the white media unprecedented incident, the Black grassroots has been calling this out for many years now. There's a reason why you had a Latino in Texas killing people. Meanwhile, he had a swastika tattoo on him. A lot of these immigrants look at themselves as being white, and everyone knows the most reliable way to signal to the dominant society that you want to be on team white supremacy is to attack Black people. Are you auditioning to be an honorary member of the oppressor class? Just go ahead and harm some Black people. Go ahead and denigrate Black people. Use all sorts of racist tropes against Black people, and you'll get that pat on the head. What this does is to simultaneously attack Black people because we're the only ones resisting white supremacy, but it also shows how dedicated these others are to maintaining the racial status quo. It just goes to show what the Black grassroots has been saying all along. Some of the worst white supremacists are people who aren't even classified as white. This incident is why the Black grassroots are not supporting all of this immigration, because the people who come here often come from countries and cultures that practice heinous anti-Black racism and anti-Black violence. And then they bring that violence here and carry out the same stuff that they were doing in Latin America. And they carry out this barbarity against a little Black child. That's why I was telling you yesterday about that so-called police officer in Jacksonville, Florida, Josue Garriga, who helped to violently attack Lakean Woods. And this guy happens to be an immigrant himself. This is what's been going on. It's been going on for a long time. People who come from cultures where they feel as if attacking Black people, well, that's just part of our normal day. Well, it's not normal for us. The violence that was done against that child, you got to wonder, was that part of the Mexican independence celebration? Is this what it means to them? The anti-Black racism in these Latin American countries is very well documented, but they deny it no end. They claim there is no anti-Black racism down there, when in reality, there's no organized resistance against it. Remember, there's never been a civil rights movement or Black power movement outside of the US. So these other Black groups out in the diaspora most of them try to cling to the idea that they're on the same team as their oppressors. You got Black people in Jamaica and in the islands and even in Africa who try to convince themselves that they're subjects, that is, honorary whites of the British Empire. In South America, they try to convince themselves that they're actually conquistadors or something, because they got one family member back in the day who was some white Spaniard who knocked up one of their ancestors. And apparently they want to see themselves as a community, as a nation, just being one happy dysfunctional family, when in truth, they're considered illegitimate offspring of their oppressors. There's no real pushback going on down there. See, these folks in the Black diaspora, they like to brag about how more of their enslaved ancestors were sent to South America than to North America, but that doesn't mean anything when they don't use their numbers. This incident also underscores why we need an anti-Black hate crime law, specifically to protect Black people. We are and have always been the #1 and the majority targets of hate crimes in the United States. And as this incident shows, a large number of those hate crimes are not being carried out by white people. They're being carried out by quote unquote people of color. If anyone requires a hate crime law to protect them, Black people in America do. And while we're on the subject of protection, we also have to accept that we must take on the responsibility to protect ourselves and other Black people. We are being attacked by the police and any anti-Black racist maggot on the street who wants to attack us. And they're targeting Black children. We have to understand that we don't need to raise our hand and ask permission to protect ourselves or each other. That is our duty and our responsibility. That is the appropriate response to anti-Black violence, especially if they're aiming that violence against Black children. We have to demonstrate that next time anyone thinks that they're going to be celebrating a culture of anti-Black racism, we are ready and willing to let them know the party is over. And that's this week's Friday Crime Report. Keep your eyes open and stay on alert, because a lot worse criminals out there than the ones the white corporate media chooses to show you. Good day and be one. I'd like to take a moment to mention some of our contributors: Stay Positive, Alice Ransom, Wally Bilal, Andrew Lewis, and Najee95. Salute to them and thank you to everyone for listening, liking, and sharing this message. Black empowerment only exists because of you.
All right, Shabaka, what are your thoughts on what Professor Black Truth has said?
Okay, once again, you know, the professor, you know, is dropping gems again, okay? And this was clearly what happened to this little baby in Chicago, being mutilated, disfigured for the rest of her life. And then the thug who pulls the gun, you know, on her mother. I'm trying to figure out, you know, what's the relation between these migrants and him.
He's just fucking them, basically. Professor, that's basically what was saying. Like, he's just a bad butt. He's caught up with racial shit, and he's willing to pull it on the victim's mother to defend that.
Okay, as opposed to the perpetrators who had harmed this little baby.
Yeah.
Okay. All righty. Okay, so what has happened is this is very, very great regression. Very great regression. And so the show is
great regression because he ain't been dealt with yet. Well, I'm pretty sure they're gonna deal with him because that little girl got family, that mama got family.
Oh yeah.
Clicked up with the crew. So did his get back?
And the subjects we're gonna be and the subjects that we're gonna be talking about on Chicago on the Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced tomorrow night. Is going to be the migrants, Mideast crisis, current situation with the dump as in human shit, Rami Salami, okay, and little Trinity, Washington, savagely beaten by Latinos in Chicago. Okay, so do you have anything you get? And what would you like?
Hunter.
Okay, and
Hunter
Biden.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Biden's. Yeah. Okay. Wait a minute. Biden's border wall. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. And let me put this here. Biden's. Oh man, mistyping this stuff. Biden's border wall. Okay. Okay. All righty. So therefore, I got the short pitch. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay, Mr. Co-Executive Producer is in there. And the episode is created. And, feel free, to go in there and edit it, upgrade it, any way you see fit.
Okay.
Okay. Add to it is because, I got, some work that I got to do. I got to handle some essential business. And then we are definitely being shadow banned by these guys, man. Okay. It's because I'm looking at our listens chart and we got too many valleys right here, not enough peaks, when you look at a graph chart, if you know what I'm saying.
Yes.
We do have 46 followers, and then to ladies and gentlemen, for our viewers out there, definitely Google Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced. Check out our episodes for the last 7 years. Please share the episodes. Is because I'm just putting it out there here on StreamYard. And what it is that they are shadow banning us is because they do not like the truth of what we said. Now, if people don't like the material that's on this platform, hey, hit our like page, drop some knowledge, drop some criticism, drop some praise, give us some type of feedback. And you can go to the like page of Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced on Facebook. And then you can go to Stinky Bird on X and follow us at Shabaka, capital EXP, on Tweety Bird or X Bird or whatever what that dude is calling it today. But you all know who I'm talking about. And definitely please share our links, ladies and gentlemen. We are growing. And definitely check us out on our live streams. And I'll let Brother Che, give you more information on that of where we're streaming at. Brother Che.
Yeah, so we're streaming on the Arena Uncensored, Front Line Blacc News, MD20's page, and Blacks and Politics, or Politics and Blacks. Politics for Blacks.
All right.
YouTube okay. We got some comments. I'm sorry, I didn't even get to the comments.
Okay, let's read our comments.
Somebody asked us to drop the link.
Okay, to drop the link. Okay. All right, so he wants us. Okay, so here's the link for Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced. It's in the chat room.
These were all at the very beginning. These comments, so there's no need to do it now. But I do.
We see MD20 up there. Peace to you, brother. And keep in mind, MD20, man. They raising the price, man. On the Boone's farm. Laughing out loud, because of the huge fire they had in the Napa Valley, Okay, let's see, blogtalkradio.com/. Okay.
Yeah, they wanted to come on earlier, I guess.
Okay.
Black Sun was tuning in.
Okay, Black, yeah, greetings to you there, Black Sun, and there's the link right there to the Blog Talk Radio there, in the chat room and what have you.
I'll put it in the comments.
Right. Okay. And then the topic for tomorrow night, Brother Che, like I said, and feel free, to add to it, and the title of that one is Current Events of October 2023.
Right. We're going to have to do a part 3.
Okay. Let's see if we could do a simulcast with it as well, too.
Yeah, because Jeff Fart's about to come on.
Okay, until Jeff, and then give Jeff my regards, as I always tell him, and give him the phone number to the podcast that he's welcome to call in.
Oh, he's not gonna do that. He said he's not in Denver. So
he says what now?
It's not in Denver, so he's not calling
in. Okay, he's not in Denver and he's not calling in. Okay, all he got to do, man, is just pick up a cell phone, man, and dial 516-418-5996.
Yeah, he's saying it's not based in Denver, so he's not calling
in. Excuse me, but the co-executive producer and the co-host is based in Denver. So what is he talking about?
That's what I told his dumbass, but that's what he said.
And what the dumb bunny say?
He's just like, well, I just can't get behind it because it's not based out of Denver.
Man, later for him. Yeah. Capitulator is what he is. He capitulated. Okay. So Brother Paris, I'm going to sign off here, ladies and gentlemen, from Las Vegas, Nevada.
Thank you so much.
Definitely.
We'll be doing another show after City Council, pretty much.
Okay, so what time do you have City Council?
At 5. Shit, I got to sign up still. Yeah, 5.
Okay. So that there would be 4 my time in 3 hours. So you got City Council in 3 hours.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And by the way, man.
Oh Lord. Okay. Oh, your team is. Oh my God.
Yeah. Man.
I never thought I would say that.
Man, the Pony Express, man, they need to turn in their horses, man. You know what I'm saying? You guys need some more wagons.
Pirates and the homeless pirates need to find a permanent place to.
Sir. That's why they pirates. They roam everywhere, man. Ripping havoc with the silver and black attack. You know what I'm saying? And what happened?
I was on the desert. They're on the desert.
Okay, so I gotta sign off. Okay, and I gotta handle some more business. Oh man. Okay. All right, Brother Che, I'm out.
All right, peace.
Always. Okay.
All right, y'all. So thank y'all for tuning into this episode of the Front Line Blacc News, Season 3, Episode 27, Part 2 of the Front Line Blacc News. We'll be back later on this evening for Part 3, because we still had topics we didn't get to, and those topics were LaKenyon Williams brutally attacked by the police in Jaccsonville, Florida. Tariq Nasheed's new documentary, FBA hip-hop documentary, Microphone Checc, The Hidden History of Hip-Hop. Trailer is out. Unhoused Neighbor News and Unhoused Neighbor Sweets. So we'll see y'all later, and keep Lady Che in your prayers. Peace. And make sure y'all subscribe to the Arena Uncensored as well, and the other platforms that we're streaming on. The Arena Uncensored, Frontline Blacc News, Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced. The numbers is going at the bottom of the screen. And let me push Shabaka's information in the chat. There it is. So Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced. Politics for Blacks. Black News in the Arena Uncensored. So we'll see y'all later. About 11 p.m. Eastern. Probably sooner than that. Probably 10 p.m. Eastern. So we'll see y'all then. Peace.